question for today is, what is the likelihood that you'll get picked for jury duty, and what happens if you decide just not to show up? Now, Massachusetts takes jury selection very seriously. It's really committed to this whole idea of having decisions made by a neutral jury of peers without any elements of bias. In the 1980s, they revised the system for randomly picking jury members, and this is how it works. By August 1st of each year, every city and town is obliged to provide to the Commission on Jury Selection a list of all the residents of the town and their addresses who are over the age of 18. Now, this is all fed into a big database by county, because if you're called for jury duty, you're usually assigned to a court within the county in which you live. All right, every name that goes in gets assigned a juror number for identification. So all other aspects of your life are just ignored. There are 58 courts in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that could use the services of a jury from time to time. Among those courts are superior courts. They need 12 jurors plus 2 alternates available to sit at a trial. The district courts need 6 persons with 1 alternate available to sit at a trial. So the courts, when they have a jury coming up, they will make a request to the jury commissioner to make a selection. And it's important to note that criminal and civil matters in Massachusetts courts are only a small portion of the cases that go to trial. So you don't have to think about huge numbers. So this request is made, then the commission uses a program to randomly select potential jurors by their juror numbers. This pool of numbers is sent to the clerk of the court where the trial is to be scheduled to be held. Then the court can again jumble those numbers up so that they're not in any particular order. And remember, no one knows what's attached to a particular jury identification number. When the selection is made for the particular court and the numbers are sent to that court, at the same time the commission sends a notice out to those folks that were identified as part of the pool, giving the name of the court, the date, to speak, and they give you a card that you fill out and send back. On this particular card are all the criteria that you have to meet in order to remain eligible besides being 18. You have to be a citizen. You have to speak English. You have to have not served on a jury within the previous 3 years. If you're a convicted felon, you're out. If you're over 70, you can choose to be out. But if you've met all of those, then you're going to return that information to the court, and that will be the end of it if you're not one of those that's completely eligible. Now, you can also, at the same time, you will be asked to fill out biographical information on yourself, your age, education, occupation, and experience. This is on a card that you are to bring to court the day that you are designated to be there. That notice will also give you a telephone number where you are requested to call late in the day before you're scheduled to go to trial to see if the trial is still going forward. If the trial is not, your jury service is over for that particular round and you don't have to show up. Once you get to the courthouse, you're going to be in a pool larger than the 12 plus 2, the 6 plus 1, because there's another selection process that goes on at that particular time. And you may be excused and someone else will take your place. Once you're called into the jury room, the judge is going to ask you a standard number of questions regarding anything that would indicate bias. Do you know the parties? Do you know the attorneys? Do you know anything special about the matter that is being considered? So if you do, you will be excused. More than that, the attorneys for the parties have something called 4 peremptory challenges, which means they can point to you and say, you are excused, and you are. You'll never find out why you were chosen. That's all right too. But then finally the juror is sworn in and the trial goes forward. Now, we talked about what happens if you don't show up. The penalties are fairly serious. The commissioner has some discretion in what to do if you don't show up. You will get notices to participate or else. And finally, you can get arrested and be served a criminal complaint, because it is criminal not to do your jury service, and you could be subject to a fine of up to $2,000. Now, What are the chances that you'll serve on a jury? You'd have to first be randomly selected at the state level, then you'd have to be randomly selected to fill your jury chair before the court. You'd have to survive all the questions that the judge asks, all the peremptory challenges that the attorneys have, and if you do, then you are going to serve. Whether you serve willingly or not, you will find jury service a very interesting experience.